Hey guys, my name is Mickey.
And this is Sammy.
We're the owners of Jogoleff Gym. Today we wanted to have breakfast and coffee with you guys, answer some of the questions that we get asked most frequently about starting our business, growing our brand, and who we are and how we've gotten to where we are today.
Alright guys, now that you've seen our delicious breakfast that we eat probably like every morning, well at least I do, not gonna lie. We're gonna get into some of the questions that we get asked most often. The first question being, do you ever cheat? On your meal plan, of course. Or go off plan.
So the way that we handle food is a little bit different. Nothing is necessarily good or bad. It's trying to figure out how you can eat the things that you want to eat and stay on target. And so with that, nothing's good or bad, then no, we never go off plan, because like, hey look, like you saw this morning, if you want French toast, we figure out how to do so in a way that gets us the results that we want. And when you do that, you don't have to go off plan. That includes, having a drink of alcohol, going to events, your friend's family's house, all those things. There is ways to work it into making progress that you want, so you don't necessarily ever have to fall off plan. And the awesome part about that is you never have to get back on track if you never fall off.
But yeah, like with that, it's all about actually having a plan and sticking with the plan. And so making sure that you plan in that French toast that you're about to eat so that you can enjoy it. All right, next question. What are you most thankful for today?
Today? That's something actually that we talk about often, or we ask each other either at the beginning of the day or at the end of every day, or sometimes both. But today I would actually say what I'm most grateful for today is being able to, one of my favorite things is to wake up naturally. And so the way that we do that is by making sure we go to bed appropriately the night before, so that in the morning we can wake up when we need to be up, but not having to use an alarm clock, and that's what we did this morning. So I'm super grateful for that.
What am I most thankful for today? Man, that's a tough one because there's always so much to be grateful for, even when you are overwhelmed and stressed. But actually, I really enjoyed making breakfast for our wonderful cameraman behind there. I like to be able to share the things that I enjoy and share them with other people so that they can experience the happiness that I get from it. So that always makes me super happy. And then waking up naturally is pretty nice. Definitely, when you're tired. What do you consider to be your greatest personal achievement?
You go first.
Greatest personal achievement. I feel like, there's definitely two big ones on there. I'm 34. I'm getting old, guys. It's not old. I know.
It's the mountains on the way.
It's on the way downhill. But greatest personal achievement would probably be opening a gym, for sure. That was huge. Because prior to opening a gym, I was an ER nurse, which would probably be my other pinnacle of achievement so far in my 34 years. They are both very different from each other. I was used to being told what to do as an ER nurse. There were systems, processes, all these types of things. And then opening a gym, it was like, holy bejesus, I am in charge. So that was definitely a new role for me. But those were huge achievements for me. How about you?
Mine is probably not necessarily the gym is huge. Mine wouldn't necessarily be something that you can mark on the calendar. I could go back and think about when the change happened, but it wasn't a specific achievement. So for those of you who do not know me and my story, growing up I was definitely not the best kid, and I was labeled as learning disabled, and so I carried that with me for the majority of my life, limiting myself because I was told that I couldn't learn, or that if I was going to learn it would be different than everyone else. And so I saw that as a setback for myself, and I allowed it to limit me. And then when I was probably about 23 years old, I decided that I wasn't going to let anyone else label me with anything that I didn't want to live with. So making that specific shift was a huge achievement for me, and it allowed me to do so much more from that point on.
So amazing. I'm always learning about this man, always. It's never a dull moment with him.
There you go.
What are the most important lessons you've learned about starting a gym?
We were actually just talking about this the other day, that so many people look at the gym as like, oh, that's my goal or a dream or something that I've always wanted to do is open a gym. So, fun fact, I had never wanted to open a gym. So it's like, didn't cross my mind at all. But what I really wanted to do was help people. And so like the gym was a way to do that. And so for her, she wanted a gym. I was like, perfect, like let's do it together. The gym, that is.
And other things.
But the thing that was most important, the thing that we were talking about the other day was that in retrospect or thinking about the gym and then where we are now is that opening the gym was the easy part.
Oh my God.
Working with people and actually helping them to transform and change their life is way more difficult than opening a brick and mortar business, in my opinion. And so the hardest part, that was a question, right? What was the most difficult
The most
part?
important lesson you learned about starting a gym.
All right, so the most important part was learning that having the business itself was easy. And then running it later was actually the hard part.
Yeah, no, definitely difficult running it. But honestly, like one of the biggest lessons, like besides that, would be being very fluid and flexible in your approach to anything in life. Because if you are too rigid, everything's changing. The times are constantly changing. Goals are constantly changing. What people want are constantly changing. And so if you don't learn how to flow with it, then you're just going to get left behind. And so really being like, when we had first opened the gym, it was like, oh, open gym, yay, everybody wants to work out on their own. No, that is not the case. Everybody wants to be told what to do.
But even before that, like in regards to like opening the gym and funding and building it out, we had an idea of how we thought it would go, and then every step we took, there was obstacles or learned new things, grown in different ways, and so it changed the way that like we actually were able to open our doors. So not being too stuck. I think the way that I've heard it put best is we bend so that we don't break. Right? If you're too rigid, then you're not going to be able to push forward. So sometimes you have to have a little bit of give in order to move forward.
This is true. Yeah. But yeah, those are definitely some of the most important lessons. How many days a week do you guys work out?
Oof, that's a fun one. So when we first opened the gym, we were both working out a lot more.
6 days a week, probably.
Yeah, or sometimes like more. It's just like, hey, look, no rest days, because
And then like let's go have fun at the park and move some more. And then man,
hashtag grind it out or whatever the kids are saying these days. And so, but like the more we learn about ourselves, about our business, about our bodies, all that fun stuff, we're continually learning and growing so that we can better help the people that we work with. And so, learning how to properly fuel your body, rest and recover, we've actually greatly reduced the amount of time or days that we work out. So I am currently doing 4 days a week. She does...
I do 3 to 4 depending on how much sleep I've gotten. So I try to be very consistent, but that is huge for us because like we said, we used to work out 6 days a week. At least for me personally, I was never seeing the exact results that I had wanted. And it wasn't until I decreased my workouts to about 3 to 4 days a week and I started fueling my body properly.
Eating more.
Eating more and actually being mindful and calculating the foods that I ate, did I actually move forward and make progress to where I actually wanted to go. So allowing your body to rest is super important. We all got different goals, don't get me wrong, but 3 to 4 days, that's what I got.
And then like with that, it's just about having a plan that you are sticking with it as moving you towards the goals that you want. So if your plan is laid out for 3 days a week, you can get the results that you want with only working out 3 days a week. If your plan is written appropriately where you have to work out 7 days a week, then obviously you're going to get the most benefit out of that. But why not program to where you can enjoy the rest of your life? There's so many people that say like, oh, I do work out or I work out because I enjoy it. But there's other things that you get to do with your time that are just as, you get to enjoy just as much, if not more.
That's true. All right. This is a good one, guys. How do you keep yourself positive or positively inspired during overwhelming times in your life?
So that's something that we're probably very familiar with. From the moment we decided to open a gym or go into business, it's probably been overwhelming. And there's a few ways that I handle it. One is that I just and even before this, from the time I was 17 to probably 24, I worked 6 to 7 days a week, anywhere from 10 to 17 hours a day.
He's like the Energizer Bunny. He never finds stop.
And so I would get asked then how do you do it? And the reality is that if you don't have an end in sight, you have a lot more in your tank than you realize. And so many people, they get discouraged because they think they only have to push to a certain point. And then once they reach that point, if they haven't hit their desired goal, it's defeating, because it's like, hey, look, I thought I was only gonna have to try hard till Friday, and now it's Saturday and I still have to try hard. And that could weigh on you so much. So realizing that this is a marathon and it's not a sprint typically gives you energy to continue pushing even when things get hard. And then to not necessarily look at, you know, the glass half empty or half full, but the possibilities that are in front of you. So rather than looking at all the problems, look at the opportunities. Because like with everything, there's the potential to fail, but there's also the potential to, you know, learn and grow. So if a failure becomes a learning opportunity and a win becomes another learning opportunity and a way to move forward, everything is forward motion. And so it's not necessarily that anything is ever overwhelming or defeating. It's just a matter of the way that you look at it.
He is obviously amazing, as you can hear. but
that means that I failed more than most people, honestly. Like
no,
when you
true.
learn, or like when you're good at something, it's just because you tried a lot more, and you got beat up a lot more. So one of my things is I'm good at taking hits and coming back.
How often do you guys fight or argue?
Honestly, I don't feel like we fight ever.
Which is like, it's I feel like our relationship is interesting, like in a good way. So if you guys didn't know, I was in a previous relationship. I was married before him. Never thought I was going to be married again. And then I met this man and he broke that belief.
In like a week.
And so I always thought, like, for me, relationships was, you gotta have your girl time, you gotta have your guy time, and like, what do, you know, in that girl time and guy time? Oh, you bitch about your significant other. That is not normal. That is not
Well, I would say it's normal because it's common, but it's
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that way.
For sure.
So we have disagreements, of course, but it never escalates to like arguing or fighting or where someone is hurting the other person's feelings. And so if there's something that we don't necessarily agree on, then we do talk about it. And the key to having a successful relationship in regards to not arguing is communication. And so like the only time that most people, things escalate is that I assume she meant something or did something or like whatever. And so it's lack of communication. So if there's something that bothers her, it's probably because I didn't communicate appropriately. If there's something that bothers me, it's probably because she was thinking something or had an idea of how something would go. And this is really big for me, that like I will think about like, oh, tomorrow this is my perfect day, and I won't tell her that, and then she has a different plan for her day, and then so it's like, oh wait, hold on.
The plan unveils, it's like, ooh, this isn't working what I thought it was supposed to do.
And so there's the potential for either one of us in that situation to get frustrated, but rather than taking it out on her, I realize like, oh, damn, I didn't tell her that this is how I saw my morning going. So she's not trying to sabotage my day. It's just that I didn't communicate, so we're not working together. So the more you communicate, the more you can work together. And so like if I have a busy week and I'm like, hey look, like, I have a really busy week, I'm gonna need your support, then she can give me the support. But if I have a busy week and I just expect her to know that, and she has a busy week and she expects me to know that she needs my support, and then we just hit the week, we both feel neglected. But it's because we didn't communicate. But so yeah, I don't think we've ever argued. Even like owning the business, operating the business, living within the business for the first year and a half.
And it was like a 300 square foot apartment, and he lived with his brother and his family, and obviously I had a husband prior.
So I never lived with like a significant other or girlfriend or like whatever. So that was my first experience, like, you know, living with someone that I wanted to, like, I chose to share my life with, because family don't really pick that. And so like I chose to, you know, move in with her and live with her, and that was the first experience for me, and we were able to make it work, you know, seamlessly. Because anything that had the potential to cause friction, we use it as an opportunity to learn, to get closer, to grow, so that our relationship could get stronger, not necessarily tear us apart. So every road bump, there's the potential, every obstacle, there's the potential to do one of two things, and we just chose and continually choose to benefit from it rather than have it tear us apart.
Yeah, and like for me, I don't ever feel like we need a break from each other, because like you said, we communicate with each other. He actually just went away for 5 days, and that was probably the longest we've been apart in our entire, what are we going on, 3 years? 3 years of a relationship, which I know for a lot of everyone's like, what? But when you communicate with somebody and you're very open with them, you don't really need that. Unless you want that, that's different. But yes, no argues. All right, so last question. Whoa. What are the 3 most crucial things that you do to build your brand?
The biggest thing I think for us definitely in the beginning was gaining clarity on what our brand meant and what it represented. So there's a lot of people that may or may not know. So our brand or our gym or our company is Jogoleff. Definitely sounds really fun in regards to like gym and working out. But from the very beginning, we were very intentful on the goal is to improve the human experience. And so we want to work with people, everyone that we come in contact with, to instinctively help one another out, to uplift each other in the world. And so it's not just about lifting weights, it's not just about getting healthier, but it's about improving your quality of life and everyone's quality of life. And that's something that we've thought about from the very beginning. So having a clear vision of who you are and what you represent is huge, because if you don't know what you're doing, then like how can you offer it to anyone? How can you build something that's kind of like scattered?
And it kind of goes back to that whole like planning your day, planning your morning. Like you have to know what it is that you want out of it. And so like you said, the clarity is huge. So if you're trying to achieve something, get clear on what it is that you're trying to achieve. Another thing, like at least for me, is really authenticity. How you see us like this is how we are in person, because I'm sure you've had those, at least I have, in the past where, oh, I have my party friends, oh, I have my smart friends, oh, I have this. And a lot of times you end up acting very differently with each of those types of people. It's a lot of work. And so if you really like know exactly who you are and portray that in every situation and every facet of your life, then it's not work, because you're just being you. So really being authentic to what it is that you want out of life, who it is you are as a person, is important in regards to the brand that you want to build. So build it based on you, not based on what you think that you should be, or you think you should be, or whatever.
And even if it's like a product or a service, you're like, how can I be cups or coffee? Right? But you can do that in a way that's authentic to you. Like you've seen all types of different coffee brands, this, that, whatever. They all look a little bit different. So like even if you have a product or something that is like physical, or a like software or something like that, you can promote it and you can grow it in a way that is authentic to you. So you never want to do anything that's going to make you feel like, oh man, I hate doing this.
Go against your values.
Yeah. And then the last one would definitely be being consistent. And that goes with authenticity, because the more authentic you are to you, then it's really easy to keep it up and to be consistent. The only time you struggle with being consistent is if it's something that is so far removed from who you are that it feels like work, so it's like, I can't keep this up. And so definitely being consistent so that you can gain and maintain momentum.
And like with that consistency comes, lo and behold, a plan. And so like for instance, like in regards to posting on social media, having some type of like consistent post and building the life that you want to live, the life that you want to portray, whatever that is for you. Because if you just build the life in that consistency, then it's really easy to maintain. So building those daily habits to get you to where you want to go. But that is all the questions that we had for you guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us for our delicious French toast and our coffee. We hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we're always here for you.